Welcome to In Hindsight, where we showcase local New Mexico. We also debate about the hot topics. And are you the a-hole? I'm your host, Day.
And I'm your co-host, Rhea.
And I am the guest, Marcus.
And of course, we're always joined by Octo and Rito. And today we have our guest, Marcus, who is a small business in local New Mexico in Albuquerque. And he actually does personalized accessories. So like it's really cool. I'm actually like wearing it right now. I'm so excited about it. It's really cool to have like my own personalized. I am Filipino, so like I'm obsessed about Filipino stuff, obviously. But like, so here is like I think like the pictures of like all the process and like how you do like how Marcus does it. Like it's really cool. So like, this is like some customers that you have. Like it's like I love the fact that like it's so intricate. Like you can like the fact that like you can like look at like, cause like I have like you did like the Filipino kind of thing flag thing here, and like it's so cool. Cause like sometimes when you like, cause people would like, oh, you know, I can buy that in like Temu or like Amazon or whatever. But like it's never you know what I mean, like it's not like that great quality. You know what I mean, where like from afar you can even tell like you can tell like there's like some kind of image or things in my necklace, like when you buy it from like, you know what I mean, like those online stores that like, I mean it's cool when you're like like when you're like literally staring at it. But like from afar, you can't even tell. It looks just like this big thing on your neck or like your accessories. But like your stuff is like so intricate. Like you can tell from like just the pictures, from like what I have right now. Like look like how intricate it is. It's like so cool. I really love it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like that's the thing. It's just like you can buy things from like online stores. But like it's not, like I said, it's like people forget like the quality. You know what I mean, of like how intricate it is and stuff. So it's like you get what you paid for. That's the problem, because people just like wanna like nickel and dime you and be like, oh, I can get that at like I can get it for like $6 at like Shein or something. You know what I mean? But like they don't really know like the work, you know, and you know the time of the expertise that you had to do to train and all that stuff. So like, how did you actually get started with like this kind of stuff, Marcus?
Yes, Denise. Well, first off, I want to say I appreciate your kind words about my art. I do put a lot of love and effort into making it. I do everything with coins, and I use little hand tools to carefully cut out the motifs or the images on the coins. I like to say, you know, that I remove the negative space on the coin, you know, and leave the image because I'm an optimist.
Oh, that's really cool.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, so you know, we try to do our best. We say we try to create extraordinary from the ordinary. So this piece that you have, this is actually an old silver Filipino coin from 1947.
I didn't know it was like a Filipino coin. I just thought it was like a quarter or something. So that's so cool.
Yeah, it's an old silver coin. So it's
because I was even talking to you that like, you know, that like next year when I go to the Philippines, I'm gonna buy like a bazillion coins.
yeah.
You know, and like, you know, get it like engraved like this.
Yeah.
Because it's like I've never, and also like I've never seen like anything like this, because like you said, it's like with the
Thank
negative
you.
space, like it's not just like an accessory, you're also like an artist, because like I think, like, cause I'm not an artist, but like I know about like the negative space in like, you know, in pictures and in
Exactly.
drawings and stuff. So the fact that you like applied it, because people are just like, oh, it's just a necklace, you know, but like some people, you know, their pieces is personal to them, and that's
For
what you
sure.
do, you know, like you
Yeah.
make it personal, because like to some people, you know, like that symbol or that logo or like whatever you put in, like it actually like means something to them. So
Yeah. No, yeah, thank you. I mean, like I said, I put a lot into it. And to answer your question of how I got started, so to make a long story short, when I was 18, I kind of looked in the mirror, you know, and I realized I don't know anything about the world. I don't really know much about culture or anything like that. So I bought a ticket to Spain. So I went to Spain to go study guitar over there, and I was just going around the streets, busking, doing stuff like that, collaborating and hanging out with other artists. And I actually met a guy. His name is Tom Pawiva, and he's an artist out of Berlin. And he was painting these amazing paintings, and I at the time I was making little camp stoves, and so I had gone into to his gallery and I showed him these camp stoves, and I was like, hey, I'm selling these camp stoves. Would you like to buy one? You know, and I was playing guitar too, and he basically said, well, if you could do that, then maybe you could do this. And he pulled a cut coin out of his pocket. It was a little German 10-cent euro coin, and at that point I was just hooked on it. I was completely amazed. I couldn't believe that anybody could do that. You know, it turns out it runs in his family for years. And it also turns out that going all the way back to ancient times, you know, the Egyptians, the Romans, Babylonians, a lot of them did coin jewelry. And back then it was much more practical, you know, because you wanted to have a coin secure around your neck so no one can just grab your coin bags, you know. And then over time it became more and more elaborate. And so today I am a coin jeweler / artist. So that's what I do, and that was 10 years ago when I first discovered how to do it. And 10 years later, after doing this, I did this on street corners around the world in about 12 different countries, and that's where I got a lot of the coins from too. Like your coin, I brought that back on my travels. It was, you know, it was a dirty old coin. I had no idea even what I had. We're still tapping into our collection, you know, of these maybe 35 or 40 pounds of coins I got back then. So yeah, to answer your question, that's how I got started, and now we're established here in Albuquerque and we're making new stuff. And this is some of the stuff that I worked on. So this is like a Walking Liberty silver dollar, and these are some Indian head nickels, which are pretty cool too. So
No, I think that's really neat. And honestly, like, because like I'm like I said, it's like I'm planning on traveling next year.
yeah.
Hopefully to the 5 countries that I want, at least minimum of 3. And I will definitely pick up some coins along the way. Because like the thing is like because like most people don't even collect coins anymore because they're heavy. They're kind of like, they're kind of out of date kind of thing.
Yeah.
And I think like what you're doing is actually really cool because
Thank
like
you.
there is this like kind of like resurgence of like, what the kids call it retro now. You know
For
what I
sure.
mean? But like, because like vinyl is on the rise, like people are getting into like old games. And I think this like old, like not old, but like an ancient like, you know what I mean? Like skill and like art of like doing like coins and like going back to more like skillful, you know what I mean? Kind of like artistry is like really cool. And I feel like the resurgence of that is really neat because you also like don't want to lose that culture, you know what I mean? That skill, because then like, it would never get passed on.
For sure.
You know what I mean?
No, exactly. I completely agree with you. Handcrafts and things like that, I think that also includes maybe even like trade jobs and things like that. They're on the way out, So it's very good to preserve things like that, crafts, artistry. And so I completely agree with you, that's why we feel so fortunate to be able to do that in this day and age, really show this art to the world.
Yeah.
And it's such a beautiful thing that when you go down to MCM, you have a coin from every part of the world.
True.
So everybody that's wanting to connect with their heritage or their culture or just represent their culture or just make a personal gift, you have that. You have coins from like Switzerland, Germany. So I think that's very cool that you offer that.
Well, it's not just that because like, you travel and I travel. We're all travelers. Is like souvenirs are like tricky sometimes, right? Because like not only are they expensive, sometimes you don't have the space for it. Because like with the airline now, you can't check in your bag, you have to pay extra, that kind of thing. So like you try to find pieces that are like small enough that like, when you see it, it reminds me of your travels. I mean, you have your pictures, but then let's face it, all of our pictures get buried in the bottom of our Instagrams.
That's so true.
So like honestly, like she's been in my house and like I collect magnets because they're like, they're like this big, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? And they're
Yeah.
like perfect and like, but eventually I'm gonna run out of fridge space. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But like I think like
Buy another fridge.
yeah. So like I think it'll be cool to just like get a coin from like the place that you went to, get it engraved. You know what I mean? When you get home, and then now you have like not only do you have a souvenir in that country, now you have a jewelry collection, and now you have a memento of like your trip for forever that
Yeah,
doesn't take
exactly.
space. You know what I mean? It actually means something to you. It's more
Exactly.
personal, you know? Like I said,
Yeah.
it's just like I think that's really cool that like you've been doing this for so long and you've been like but I've actually been to Spain too, so I went to Madrid and Barcelona.
Nice.
So like I mean I
Wonderful
like
places. Huh?
yeah, it really is like I definitely want to move there. So but like or live there sometime. But like, you know, like I think like people look at this and it's just like I said, it's just like, oh, it's just a jewelry. I can buy it in like Temu. But like we amass so much items, right? And then also like I have like people in my family, in my husband's family, like passed away, and then like you have these like items, right? That like now you gotta give to your family, that like you know a big cabinet or something. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
like there's this thing called like the Swedish cleaning kind of thing, where like you clean before like slowly but surely, so like you don't leave so much behind for your family to clean up.
Gotcha.
You know what I mean? So like you always think
Good
of like
idea.
exactly like where is my trinkets gonna go? You know, I mean I know it's weird and kind of like a little bit
For sure.
awkward and
Yeah.
kind of like weird.
Yeah.
But like you know like my little Hello Kitty things,
Yeah,
you know what I
yeah.
mean? But like jewelry, people are always gonna buy jewelry. People always gonna keep jewelry. Also, you know, like you can actually it could be part of your heirloom. Because you know what I mean? Like, I mean, people have like wedding dresses that they pass from their grandmother
Yeah,
and their granddaughter. You know what I mean?
Exactly. You know.
But like, I think like people kind of just like right now they're just kind of like, oh, you know, it's just a necklace, it's just a ring. But like, it's an heirloom you can pass because like, who's gonna say no to like a little box, a little necklace,
Exactly.
than like a cabinet?
Yeah.
Nobody wants your dining table.
For
You know what I
sure,
mean?
you know. And no, I completely agree with you. And one thing that's quite interesting about it too, like let's say your coin, for example, you know, that's been passed around since 1947. You know, how many people had that? You know, how many people used it to buy something? What kind
Yeah.
of maybe there's a lot of good energy behind it, you know, and then now it's upcycled and converted into something else, which is also quite interesting too. You know, it just didn't start with a piece of raw material and then became a necklace right away. You know, it was already passed around. Who knows? Maybe that coin traveled all over the world. You
Yeah,
know?
and like that's really cool because like now it has a history.
Yeah.
And you upcycled it, and then there's culture because you don't know, like did this stay in a country? Did it travel? You know what I mean? Like what culture has it seen? What hands has it passed on? Like you said, and then you turn it into like a little piece of like art, and then now it becomes like a piece of you, and it becomes like, you know, a jewelry. You know what I mean? So it's like it's so cool. Like you said, when you said that, it's just like because like it's not just like a one thing. It becomes just like a tapestry of like culture and history and like
For sure.
personal stories. You know what I mean? And I think like that's why like when Rhea showed me your pictures, I asked her. She's like, does he want to come on the show? And like, you know, like it's like I think like this is like a really cool thing because people are also like into monograms now. You know what I mean? Like people do like their kind of like silhouettes on like sweaters and like of their pictures and stuff.
Yeah.
Because like I think people are now like even I mean I think we always have like this gravitation for things to be personal to us because you know it means something. That's why we're all nostalgic. That's why we love Saturday cartoons and you know
So
like
true.
all the old OG you know like Ghostbuster like that's why like I think nostalgia is like so big because it's not just like the TV show or the movies that like we thought of. It became a part of our childhood. It takes us to like a time when we're innocent or like you know when we were teens or like it takes us to like a different time of our lives.
It does,
Right?
yeah, for sure. You know, especially when more items were physical. You know, now a lot of things are our software, you know.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
yeah, for sure. I mean, so many things are virtual now, you know, money, they're phasing out coins.
Yeah.
There will be a day where we don't even have coins anymore. I
Yeah.
mean, the government right now is working on CBDCs, you know, which will be a central bank
Mm-hmm.
digital currency. Maybe something called Fed coin, you know. Jerome Powell, the chairman of the Federal Reserve, had talked about that too. So when that goes away, you know, what's going to happen to the coins? You know, they're probably going to melt a lot of them down. And of course, some collectors will hang on to them, you know, just
Yeah.
like they did
They
in
do
other
everything's-
countries.
Yeah.
But
But yeah, but you're saying that too because like I know like there's parts of like Europe and other countries where they, you know, they phased out coins
yeah,
because people don't want to carry them. We are going digital. I mean, Apple Pay, right? And I think like I was showing Rhea like my shadow box that I had like, you know, like 13 years ago of like, you know, like theater tickets, you know, when I see the Phantom of the Opera in New York, like subway maps of Japan, like, you know, train tickets when I went to Berlin. Those little things, because like we can always print pictures, but like
Yeah.
those things are like I said, like those things are becoming more and
Yeah.
more digital. Even
Yeah.
now, when you board a
True.
plane, you have your QR scan thing on your phone now. You know, so like you don't even need a boarding pass. Usually, it's on your phone now too. So I think to have like something physical and something to touch, you know, and that's why like I think it's also funny because like the resurgence of like actual like stores are like coming back
yeah,
because people miss like touching things and we forget that like we are very like, you know, we're people and we crave our senses, right? So
For sure.
when we touch things, because like there was like I was watching a video where like Apple intentionally do their laptops weird, so like they put it upright because your instinct is to fix the screen. So when you touch it, you now have this like proprietary feeling of like, oh, this is mine. I want it to be mine. Like how you know what I mean? Like
That
when
is
we touch,
interesting.
because like when we
Yeah.
touch things, when we hold people's hands
Yeah.
or when we shake other people's hands, like there's it connects. It brings like a thing to us that connects our brain
sure.
that like, you know, there's not. It's not just like. It's fun to. I mean, don't get me wrong. I do online shopping a lot.
yeah.
You know,
me too.
but there's a difference like when you try on a dress and you look at it in the mirror, you know, and you see it for yourself for the first time. I mean, I'm not saying that like when I buy it and I try it on, it's not cool or anything. But there's the difference of like when you're in the store and you're touching materials and like seeing how they flow. And I think like these kind of things are like coming back. And I think it's like a really cool thing, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I agree. You know, and also to reply to what you said about people wanting to have like a tactile experience. You know, I think also things like those, like the fidget spinners and things like that, are
Yeah.
proof of that. You know,
Yeah.
because I don't know if we had a need for that maybe 50 years ago, but now we're like we long to play
Play
with
with
some
them.
toy or
Yeah.
something, you know,
Yeah.
and that's how I feel too, you know, in creating the coins. It's fun to do that, you know, use the
Yeah.
tools, make something that you can actually hold, that you can actually take home, that was actually money, you know.
And that's such a beautiful thing that people that have had their coins themselves and they've held on to it from generation to generation, you've transformed them into jewelry. So that's a
Yeah.
really cool thing that you offer.
Yeah.
I think, like I said, it's just like it's not just like beautiful and convenient, and because like it's like, you know, you're wearing it, it's a part of you, like it has history, it has art. So like everybody, you know, contact Marcus. You want this? Like this is like a great present for anything: Father's Day, Mother's Day, Valentine's Day, Christmas, birthdays. Just because, you know, I think, and you know, you can get pricing, you can get more information. You know, just contact Marcus. You can, you know, reach out to him through these different ways: telephone number, Instagram. Follow him on Instagram, so you can actually see like what the coins are for the different customers. Even logos for businesses.
Yeah.
You know, that's even great. You know, because like this is like a really, really even good like giveaway for like businesses and stuff. So yeah, like, you know, and also
Thank
it's
you.
local. So like, you know, Marcus is like a local New Mexico, Albuquerque native. So, it's amazing to like support our small businesses, especially locally.
Exactly. Oh, sorry. I was going to throw one thing too. And when you guys come down to the shop, you will also see our lovely Rhea there too.
Yes.
Because she's a huge part. She's the other better half of our business. She's really helping to make it come true. And a lot of her ideas, we've really done well because of that. She's wonderful. Yeah.
Thank
you.
So, come on down and we'll help you.
Yeah,
We'll
and
help
check
you
out our
guys find something
episodes
you want.
when we have Rhea with all. She is an artist. She has her collections and everything. We did have a couple episodes right before. I believe it's episode 22 or 23. But please check that out. And we're actually gonna segue to our hot topic, because I think like podcast is really big. Obviously, because we're doing it right now, like video podcasts and like regular podcasts, like. And I think this is a very interesting topic of like representation and also like, freedom of speech, but also like the limitations, right? Because like we are in that age where everybody has a voice, everybody technically has a microphone. You can literally make your own YouTube video at home with your own computer. You don't even have to buy like other necessary equipment. People are like doing live on Instagrams and TikTok and Facebook. Like I said, it's just like and you can even do it on your phone. People are like doing their own movies on their iPhones. Like we've seen that. Like it's even in the Oscars and, so like we're so like technology is so accessible to us that like literally everybody has an opinion and has a phone. So with that question is that we also have this surge of kind of like anti-Semitism, misogynistic kind of rhetoric that is happening right now. And also there's like a lot of like banning of books, right? We're also seeing it in even our own government. So like I think like this is gonna be like an interesting topic and also a complicated one because you don't want things to be banned. Because I think like once you start banning things and it becomes obsolete, people do forget about it. And then it becomes like normal in a way because then you don't talk about it, right? Because like and there's also like a lot of people that are like, it's not necessarily bad or good, like flat earthers, like slavery and like like people that are like saying it didn't happen, that kind of thing. So like there's that question of like, is everybody do have a right to have a voice, or there should be like some kind of limitations to putting your opinion out there, because a lot of people do get canceled now. We do
That's
have
so true.
we do have also like we are now,
It's a good point.
you know what I mean? It's like
Yeah.
we are also now in the age where like people get canceled. I think that word is also dumb. It's like you don't get canceled, you say stupid stuff, and then
They don't
if
want it to.
Yeah, it's like if it
Yeah.
isn't the consequences of my actions, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like
for
that kind
sure.
of thing, right? Because like I'm saying, it's just like it's also nice because like it's not just like people of my heritage and your heritage, or like everybody now has their platform. You see, everybody has their own show given like whatever your interests are, either movies or entertainment or like a specific niche. But then you do have like the Andrew Tate, right? The Joe Rogan.
Yeah.
So like what do you guys think of that?
Well, I definitely think Andrew Tate, as a misogynistic person, should have had his mic canceled a long time ago. And the fact that he was so out there and had this underground business of trafficking is crazy.
Yeah.
Like, how would they not have known? Like, I just feel like you're out there voicing your opinion left and right. Like, how would they have not known that he had this underground business this whole time?
I mean, it's just like because like people has like means now to kind of like hide
Yeah.
themselves through VPNs, you know what I
Yeah.
mean, that kind of stuff too. And it's just like I said, it's just like I think like it's hard because like everybody has their own outlets, right? So like, but I think we talked about this in like one of our episodes where like as a person with a microphone who also has like their own audience, should you be taken accountable for the things that you say? Because like you're not the people that are listening to you are not just like
Yeah.
adults. You have children.
A lot of children.
So
You know what
true.
I mean? You have children and like children that are growing up into this world that like with the algorithm with YouTube and
Yeah.
TikTok that like
So true.
you know like because I know like in China the TikTok that they get is completely different that we get
Yeah.
because even they have understood that like children's minds and brains work differently. So like the TikTok in China is limited to children at a specific age. So like if your child is have like 'cause, I mean let's face it, kids have phones now,
Yeah.
right? I mean my nephews had like phones since they were like 6 or 7 already. So like there are age limitations. So like they can only see like educational videos, you know, like fun, like kind of like Cocomelon type
Yeah.
stuff, but they can't actually do like the stuff that we see, the kids
Yeah.
we see now. Because I mean, let's face it, like TikTok is addictive. It was so
Yeah.
addictive that like all of the social media platforms have now followed the same algorithm, right? Because they literally
That's
could
true.
not compete with
Yes.
TikTok. So all
Yeah.
they can do is at least be comparable to TikTok, because there's a reason why our mind are addicted to games, right?
For
Or
sure.
impulse things,
So
because
true.
it does like it creates this kind of like endorphins high, and also like our patience and like our limitations, right? It's just like is now different because like I do like sometimes when I'm like, oh, is this gonna be more than 5 minutes? Like I'm done with this. This is gonna, you know what I mean? Like, is it
Yeah.
gonna be like more than 2 minutes? Like,
Yeah.
this is too much. You know what I mean? And it's like it's one of those things where like, should you be held to like a different standard because you have a microphone, or because like there are like because like you know Taylor Swift was dating Matt Healy,
Yeah.
and he had like a podcast with friends, and he was saying some misogynistic stuff and you know some stuff about like Asian women and Black women and that kind of stuff, you know, and you know he was saying that like at the time, you know he was just like trying to play the devil's advocate. You know, it wasn't really his opinion. He was just trying to kind of like ruff some feathers, kind of thing.
For
Yeah.
sure.
So, you know what I mean? And I do feel like there are some people that like, because we are also in a clickbait
Yeah.
kind of
That's so
mentality
true.
now, you know? Because like sometimes I get annoyed because even like I was even talking to my husband, like I was like at Facebook Marketplace and people will be putting like $1. So here I am thinking like items are $1,
And
and
then
then I
you
click
go
on
check
it
out.
and it's like, oh yeah, it's $15. And I'm
Yeah.
like, you liar. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like
the
you made
clickbait.
me, yeah, like you made me click on it. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Here I am thinking it's like only $1 and it's
Yeah.
like $15.
That happens to me all the time. You know what though? There is a lot of clickbait, and there's a lot of people that will say things on purpose, even though they don't have no meaning behind it,
Yeah.
just to have some interesting topic going on, and then they'll do that to get the views going on, you know. But by the end of the day, you know, we all have our right to speak on something, right?
Yeah.
And I do feel like it's okay to have some exposure to like all different type of topics, but it's whether if you choose to incorporate it into your life, those values or whatever you're following from that person.
Yeah.
Yeah, and yeah, to you know to pivot to what you were saying too, and I think on a note to what you were saying is you were talking about you know like the First Amendment or freedom of speech. You know how we suppressing that would be too far because that would mean that the people who are saying you know even positive things or things that could help people could also be suppressed. But I do think we're in the day and age where we have so much media available to us.
It's
that
oversaturated.
it's oversaturated, and I think it's a culture shift too. It's a priority thing, you know, because if we could go all the way back, say like 200 years ago, you know, like a child could walk into a pharmacy and buy drugs that would be illegal now, you know, or
Yeah.
buy a firearm or something like that. But the culture was different and the priorities were different, you know.
Yeah.
So I do also think that, like, we do have a lot of, so like every country, right, has like its group of like far right nationalists that are extreme, but then it seems like we have the general population that is able to
More like in the middle.
sort of compete with them a little
Yeah.
bit. I think freedom of speech sort of creates that competition, so that way if you're hearing someone say something crazy, then you also hear somebody else who can rebuttal that, come back and explain why that's crazy or why that's false or why that's wrong. But I do agree with you, a lot of children are watching these things now too, so it's going to be maybe challenging to figure out how that will be moderated in the future, But I do agree with you. I mean, there are always going to be, quote unquote, like nut jobs saying extreme things, and the hard thing about it is that they genuinely believe they're right, and they'll keep going with it. But we have seen a few examples of people who are pretty extreme, who have been kind of suppressed by opposing sides, who have legitimate reasons, why that person is wrong or why they're too extreme. So I do agree with you. It's a hard thing to tiptoe, to figure out what to do.
Because like once you start moderating things, right, then you have to moderate for both sides.
Sure.
Yeah.
Because then it becomes like, you're biased from like one side to another. And like I said, it's just like, I don't have children of my own. I do want some fairly soon. But like I do have like, nephews and goddaughters. And like, we do have conversations about this kind of stuff. Because they do have like some things that sometimes they ask me about. Because I'm like the cool auntie, that like they don't really ask their parents, like my opinion or like my takes on stuff, right? So like I think like that's why community is important, but like it's also hard because like with the inflation and everything, a lot of parents are working a lot. I'm not here to mock anyone's parenting style or anything, but like I said, it's just like the problem is just like algorithm because like sometimes I'll be watching one video and then like 3 hours later, I'm like, how did I get sucked into this? Like, what am I watching now? You know what I mean? Like I said, it's just like I was like we were like in our bachelorette party in New Orleans and we were watching a turtle pick what vegetables or fruit he's gonna eat next.
Yeah.
We're like gambling on like, is he gonna eat the watermelon or the lettuce? And we're like, how did we end up to this again? It's like, I mean, that's like the cuter side of the thing.
For sure.
But it's also like the darker side of the thing. And like you said, it's just like, because like media now is like so convenient that like some of those things are not even in the dark web anymore.
Yeah. Exactly.
And people like literally like I've known people that have like social media accounts where like they get reprimanded. So they just create a new
Another
account.
one,
So there was like a podcaster who's like, there was like a joke where like, this is like her like 9 TikTok account. So she's like let's just pretend her name was Sarah. So now she's like Sarah 9. Because like she just kept getting deleted because her stuff is like so controversial.
Yeah.
But you just make one again anyways.
Just make a new one, yeah.
So it's just like, I think that's like definitely interesting. And then now that we're talking about hot topics, we're going to segue to my the a-hole because like we love drama in this show.
Okay.
We love drama that doesn't involve us because it actually doesn't affect us. So this is really interesting because like, relationships.
Okay.
So the topic is like, am I the a-hole for freezing my boyfriend's card? So my boyfriend grew up in a poor family. He makes decent money nowadays, but he is the only one with stable income in his family. His sister, 23, is a leech, but he has a blind spot for her. She's irresponsible, totally anti-work. Why waste time working when you have to live your life? And she despises me for kicking her out a year ago. During COVID, I let her move into my apartment, and while my boyfriend and I went camping for a weekend, she threw a huge party and trashed my place. Of course, my boyfriend took her side, but he didn't have any say on it. It was my apartment. Nowadays, she's straight up rude to me. She's always saying, can't wait till he breaks up with you. She puts his whole family against me. Apparently, my boyfriend still funds everything in her life. She just has his card info and uses it without limits. So I got pregnant and money got tight. I can't work as much anymore due to my health, so I started counting money, and it turned out I covered 70% of expenses of our joint life. I had a talk with my boyfriend, and we agree we will go more 50-50. Turns out, to meet the 50%, he has to take overtime. He basically lives at work now. I had to renovate my spare room into a nursery on my own, but my boyfriend gave me his bank info so we can share the expense. I couldn't buy a thing with his card. Logging into his account, and it turns out his little sister spent over $3,000 on her stuff during 1 week. Talked about it with my boyfriend. He got annoyed with his sister, but told me to hold on a few days till his next paycheck comes. I basically had to pay for everything for that time again. So the day of his paycheck came, and since day one, I could see money spent by his sister. I got annoyed and froze his card only to unfreeze it when I needed to pay some baby things. This is like,
It's a lot of cheese.
yes. So,
Tough situation there.
like, what do you do?
Oh man.
Well, first of all, she's pregnant and she's got a baby coming on the way.
I know.
That should have been his priority first.
I know, but is it a red flag? That's a question.
Yes, it is.
So this is one of those things where like it's also hard with relationships, right? Because like dating and then having a baby is completely different, right? Because now you have like a second responsibility. So like
Yeah.
his spending would have been okay
Yeah.
at the moment, and then it was allowable in a way because like you don't have another person.
Yeah.
Now on top of that, you have like another person to feed, but like she has to like either work less or stop working altogether.
Yeah.
And if you're supplying 70% of your lifestyle, I'm like, that's a lot.
Yeah. Okay, from a
Yeah.
guy's perspective,
Yeah.
what would you think?
I think that this is happening because this guy can't take responsibility for his financial situation, and maybe I think he's probably got to step in and figure out what his priorities are. Obviously he loves his sister, he wants to help her, but also he's got a child too he needs to take care of as well. So but I don't know. I feel like maybe he's got to either work this out or cut someone off or make more money for both of them, or they all just have to work it out. But I would say I think the number one first step is that he's got to figure it out, because if he's had these two people spending his money for him or figuring out his financial situation, that's tough,
Yeah, because like money is like coming out from somewhere. And she
Yeah.
already said on the post that like he's basically working overtime and he barely sees him
Yeah.
because he's like working so much overtime. But then she looks at his account and like $3,000 in
Yeah,
a
that's
week.
crazy.
lot.
Also of like not, I mean, don't get me wrong, I love money.
Oh
You know
yeah.
what I mean? And also like if it's like from the bank of somebody else, why wouldn't I?
Yeah.
But I think like that was already a red flag in their relationship because like she threw a party in her apartment, and then he was on his sister's side. That would have been like
Yeah.
I think also it's just like this is the hard thing about relationship, is that you have to balance what are the pros and the cons because also like we don't have the whole story,
Yeah.
right?
Exactly,
Because like we
yeah.
also have friends that are like dating someone, and in the back of your mind you're always just like.
What are they doing?
Yeah, what are they doing? Why haven't you broken up with them? You know what I mean? Like, why are
Yeah.
you still with this person?
Yeah.
Person is trash.
Yeah.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Some people love the abuse,
Yeah.
but-
And also, like, it's hard because, like, I have friends that are, like, in relationship that I don't quite like or endorse. But the problem is just, like, I would never be able to provide them or give them what that other person wants. You can't. You're a friend. Like a
Sure.
significant other is a completely different ballgame.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right? So like I think like as I got older, I realized that like it's not about the message, it's how you deliver the message kind of thing.
Yeah.
Right? It's just that because like
It's a good way to put it.
yeah, it's like some people it's not that they don't like their life, it's just that that's the life that they want for now. And it doesn't matter what you say or do or like try to explain it, they just don't want to hear it.
Yeah.
Because like there's a certain comfort that your significant other gives you that your friends doesn't give you. It's gonna be, and
Yeah.
it's like the same thing with family. You like your significant other, but like there's a different thing that your family provides,
Yeah.
Yeah.
right?
True.
Yeah.
So and that's why like I think that the hard part is like when you add responsibilities and big time events like pregnancy and weddings and all that stuff. That's when you have to like figure out like is this person right for me?
Yeah.
Because think about it, is like they're gonna have a kid soon. That
Yeah.
kid is gonna have needs, and as they grow older, their needs are gonna be more and more expensive.
Exactly.
And you have sorry, go on.
And they're gonna eventually have their own family, and
It-
he needs to understand that.
He already has his own family.
Yeah, you know, like his own child, their own family, separate from his immediate family. And if his sister's already draining their accounts now, like what if they end up in an emergency situation and he doesn't have the funds? You know, that's gonna be like divorce already on the way out.
And it's not just that, it's just like if he's spending $3,000
Yeah,
in a week,
3,000.
that's 12,000 in a month.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a crazy amount of money. And I was going to say, you have a good point about the red flag thing, you know, because if the girlfriend didn't see that coming, you know, that's very unfortunate for her, you know, especially because that's, you know, that's happening. But sometimes I like to think like maybe it is what it is, you know, like maybe say you have a like an animal or something you really love, you know, like some people have pet lions or whatever, and you know you can pet it and enjoy it, but if you stick your hand like in its food bowl while it's eating or something, you might get bit, you know. And it seems like the sister is just going to do what she's going to do, and he's got to create some sort of distance or some boundaries or something, and that's tough. Like you said, 3K a week, that's already 12K a month, you know, down the drain.
Well, it's not just that, because like it also creates this tension.
Yeah.
Because in-laws are hard.
It's true.
You know what I mean? Because like also like, because like the sister already says like, you know, she's trying to like alienate the girlfriend to his family. You know what I
Oh,
mean?
yeah.
Because like you know, because like she's like she actually has boundaries, but he doesn't. And then eventually like you're gonna have he's the one that needs, you know what I mean, because that's his family. It's not her job to put her in place, because then you become a villain in somebody
Yeah,
else's
so
perspective.
You know, now that you mention that, do we have like any background story on the family or what
That's
they're
the thing,
like? Or
it's like-
maybe they're just trying to, you know, siphon off the money through the sister, you know?
Well, she said like they're poor, and
Oh,
he was
okay.
the only
That
one that
makes
was like
sense.
making like
The
in a-
breadwinner.
Gotcha.
So he was the one that actually was making money.
Gotcha.
So she's like the sister is probably just living the lifestyle that she
And they
never
want
had through
his
the brother.
money. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's, man, poor people. That's unfortunate.
Yeah, but like I mean, but like not all poor people are like that.
No, I don't mean the family. I mean
Yeah,
like the
the
situation,
situation.
you know, and
Yeah.
the girlfriend too, because, you know, she's not going to have, it doesn't sound like she's going to have enough money for her child, you know, and for the relationship with him. And then he's like split between these two. And obviously one, the sister, like you said, is just a leech taking the money.
Yeah.
You know, that's not good.
Yeah. Eventually, you're gonna have to like choose, you know, what family is more important to you.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
you're not
True.
gonna be able to keep both.
No.
If like you know what I mean. It's like also like he's creating a situation and a tension. You know what I mean? That like he might possibly lose both of his family.
Yeah.
It's so true.
Right?
No, that's a good point. yeah.
Because like you know like eventually like if she end up divorcing him, like he's not gonna be able to like see his children, you know what I
No,
mean,
it's-
or like you know, and then he's gonna have to like have his own family, or like you know his family is not gonna be able to like, because you also don't know, you know, some people can be petty, you know, some
So
people
true.
can have like you know she might feel some type of way, and then eventually she's just like, you know, I don't want my husband's family to like for my kid to know them, because like they're, you know, they do this kind of environment that I don't want my kid to have.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So like you don't know what the action is gonna be when things escalate, especially when it comes to divorce.
Yeah.
For sure. And
Right.
well, that's like, you know, what you said before about sometimes it's not necessarily about the message, but how you convey it or deliver it, you know. And maybe that's like the same thing with the card situation, you know, because obviously, you know, you can't just go and mess with somebody's bank card, you know, someone else's financials. Like, that's not right. But at the same time, the build-up leading to that, you know, that's like the delivery of that might not have been right, but maybe fundamentally that was the right thing to do,
Yeah.
you know, to maybe send him a message of like, we need money for our family, for our baby, you know.
Yeah.
Um,
But yeah, because it's just like, you know, like because like me and my husband don't have a joint bank account. Our accounts are connected where like we can withdraw money from each other, but it's not a joint account. So like we don't
okay.
we don't affect each other's credit score. But like if something happened to both of us, we can take out our accounts and move them. So it's kind of joint, but not quite. And it's like one of those things where like I don't like, because like when I take money from like a specific like account, I talk to him like, hey, you know, like I saw that I have an overdraft. I just took like, $300 or whatever to cover the overdraft,
Yeah.
just in case. So when you log in, because like at the end of the day, he's the one that was putting money in too. You know what I mean? It's not just like my money, like this whole like, like our money to get. It is and it isn't. Because like as a person, we are very territorial of our stuff. Because
sure.
then it becomes like, it's not that because we're immature of like, but it's my money.
Yeah,
It's not just that. It's just
Yeah.
that we're all just like territorial of our stuff.
Yeah,
That's just
yeah.
human nature.
We're not trying to share toothbrushes
Yeah,
and stuff.
exactly. And it's also like, it comes to like the trust, because like then if I'm like taking money out, then it becomes this like, okay, what is she doing? That she does this often. When is the time that she actually took
Yeah.
out money from like one account to another? You know what I mean? Then you're creating situations where there's like leading to doubt, right? And I think that's why like it's really hard, because like it's not even her family; it's his family.
Yeah,
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 it's
exactly.
So it's like,
Yeah, I hope they can get it sorted out,
but this
Hopefully
is
they can
not
figure
even
that
like
out,
uncommon.
It is a
Yeah.
very common thing.
That's
yeah,
why like
stuff
it's
like
so
this.
hard with like relationships, and it's just like that's why like if I have like something to say to my husband's family, I let him
Yeah,
tell it because he knows how to kind of like butter his family.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Say the right things. Because then if it comes to me, then they become defensive. Then they look at
Yeah.
it of like, like who is she to say?
Yeah.
She's
Yeah,
not
what's her
family. She
place,
doesn't
yeah.
know how we operate, that kind
Yeah.
of thing. You know
For
what I mean?
sure.
And I feel like it's his responsibility to step up.
Yeah, I agree with
Exactly. And then her being in a position that she might not be able to work anymore.
Yeah.
And then plus the stresses of her sister constantly taking out money.
Yeah.
It's
you
like,
don't know. Like you open your account and all of a sudden you're like 3K, overdraft.
you.
You're
No,
like,
that'd be terrible, That'd be
You know?
terrible. Yeah, it's of course we can understand with her situation. It's a very tough situation to be in, not knowing. I mean, I think anybody would be frustrated if you needed money for your child, and then you have someone over here who
Yeah.
is a child themselves, spending all your money on
Yeah.
on
Yeah.
who knows
Things.
what,
Yeah, it's just like I said. It's just like we're possessive of our stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It doesn't
Exactly.
matter like how cool and chill you are. Eventually, there are some things that you want to like ignore.
Yeah.
That, like
Sure.
like nobody can like touch or
Yeah.
whatever.
and it's not like she can report it because it's his sister.
Then then
Yeah.
it becomes really complicated.
It is
Yeah.
complicated, and sometimes I like to say too, there's a lot of things that are legal that are totally wrong, and there's
And
just
that's
all
one of
that
them.
gray areas
Yeah.
where we just have to sort it out as human beings,
That's one of them. That's like that one episode we were talking about how the mother let the daughter use the card and she spent a lot of money on that card, and we're like, is that wrong? And that's kind of hard. Like, do I report that? No, do I don't report that? Do
Yeah.
I discipline
Yeah.
her?
I think it's also hard when it's family.
Yeah.
Because then once you cross that row, then it divides, then
Yeah.
it becomes this big thing, and then now there's like he said, she said, team whatever,
Yeah.
and you're just like,
Yeah,
what am I gonna do?
Yeah.
exactly.
It gets complicated.
Yeah, it really does. Yeah.
So, but that is our show today. Please let us know what do you think. Like, what will you do in this situation? Like, what are your opinions about it? Please follow us. Any businesses that would like to be sponsored or wanted to be featured, like Marcus, please come in. Please contact us. Please let us know. And for now, we will see you guys in our next episode next week. Bye.
Have a good day.